Hey everybody, oh happy day. I hope you're doing insanely well. We've got some breaking news in the lead industry. I hope you're ready. Leads are the lifeblood of this space. We've got a very special guest, Matt from theleadjerk.com. We've got premium ultra leads being released. Matt, thank you for joining. Say hey.
Hey Jason, how you doing? How are you guys doing out there? I appreciate y'all watching these, and I've been getting a little bit of feedback from it. So I'm just going to continue to be here as long as I can. I know Jason will too, and I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk to you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And
Yep.
I know with leads, it's so important. Leads are leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, the agents watching, it's so vital that you understand a lead is only as good as you, the agent, are. So never understand a lead to be a sale, even though it can result in a sale. They're phenomenal, but these premium ultra leads are amazing. We're going to dive into this content with you, hopefully try to save you some heartache and some pain, and hopefully increase your profitability. So we're going to dive into this with you. If any of you need help, reach out, jasonfinalexpense.com. And as always, theleadjerk.com to get access to these
Thank you.
premium ultra leads. It's a big deal. So
Yep.
Matt, share with us what these premium ultra leads are about. This is huge
Okay.
news,
Sure.
for the viewers, because
Yep.
compliance is a big thing to you. It's a big
Yep.
thing to me. We're birds of a feather that way. I try to warn agents. I'm like, any cheap little lead that you see online in your email box, if it's blankety blank at gmail.com, let me just share with you, the audience, it isn't compliant, right? Hey, it's stinking now. Just stay
Right.
away. It's just
Yep.
not good.
Yep.
So having a compliant lead vendor like Matt, it's a big deal.
Yep.
So,
So yeah, what we did was we've had good success with the Jornada token IDs on MedSup leads, whether it's live transfer or callbacks. And what we did was and also on the live transfers, they're all Jornada tokens. So any live transfer we do is Jornada token. And what that does, that tracks a little deeper. Obviously, if somebody isn't familiar and you haven't watched any other videos, these tokens are basically make the data more compliant you're calling on. These people have actually researched and requested information in the last 60 to 90 days, sometimes as early as 30 days out, just depends on how the data is scored. And that's tracked through Jornada, which is an independent certification company that created this technology. So all the leads basically come with a token that is trackable and used in basically compliance to protect the end user of that lead when you make contact however you choose to, whether it's email, which don't recommend,
right.
or phone, or if you do face-to-face sales and door knock. So basically what we've done, we've created what we're calling a premium ultra final expense telemarketing lead. And it's very similar. It's going to have basically the same scripting. Everything else about it is going to be pretty identical to our normal standard, successful final expense telemarketing leads. The biggest difference is adding this compliance measure to them. Okay. So that's a big deal. And like I've said, and I mentioned to you before, we are, even on the data, if it comes over and it's compliant, we got the token, we know we can legally issue that out as a lead and somebody can legally call them, we are still removing DNC. We're trashing that data. We scrub it out. We don't want that. Costs us more money to do that because we lose data, but I don't want to give the agents any kind of potential headache with somebody that did show interest in this, did respond, affirmatively to interest in the product. We just don't want to mess with them though. It's just people are people. Humans are, have errors, and they may forget that, and they just think that, hey, I'm on a DNC and I just got a phone call. So we just want to avoid that altogether. I mean, why muddy the water when you don't have to? So that's kind of where we are. That we're looking to roll them out in the next 2 weeks. We're still doing some testing on some things with data, but yeah. So that's kind of what we've been doing behind the scenes, as well as I don't know if you want to touch on this a little bit, but I told you, kind of about the issue with data and response rates right now in the smaller county areas is getting, it's getting restricted. And I hate to say it, but some of these agents are in for a little bit of a wake up call when they realize that hey man, you might need to go statewide. You might need to start learning about telesales. Again, there's guys out there that'll argue that direct mail is still doing fine. You know, they're holding steady at a paper lead of $39. But I would say that's more dependent on their own experience with their own group. That's not covering the large bird's eye view that I see of a mass amount of agents and what they're saying to me. And what they're saying to us is, we're not getting return rates on direct mail. We can't find a PPO program because there's only like 3 or 4 mail houses left that'll even do it. If they can get in contact with them, they won't talk to them because they're not part of their larger group that's in their area that has those areas locked out. So it's really, you know, if you're not in that PPO program and you're depending on, 1,000-piece mail drops, they're not happening. There's just not very few agents are getting anything back. I talked to a guy the other day. Matter of fact, I think he just put in quite a large order for final expense live transfers. And he was telling me that he had spent like $8,000. He's got a nice little tight agency. I think $8,000 or $9,000 on direct mail drops, and they got like 10 leads back.
Goodness. And I know direct mail, like even certain lead houses, the price per lead has jumped to like mid 40s now.
Yeah.
So it's ugly. And it's like certain houses will guarantee like a 1% response rate, which that's a godsend. And 1% sounds atrocious, right? Because you and me, brother, back in the day, doing direct mail, we could pop a 3% return rate. I mean, that was pretty normal back in our day.
Where it was, with me, it's about 3%. Yeah.
Not anymore. I mean, now it's like you get a 1.9, you're like whistling Dixie. In my area, I can do direct mail leads with tight analytics, go per 1,000, and I can get around a 3 because I know what I'm doing. But you do it wrong, oof, man, you'll get hurt financially. Don't even mess.
Yeah, and it's and I'll say this, man, I'll admit it. The best lead out there is a really good direct mail lead. I mean, we don't do them, but I'm just telling you. But it's a dinosaur. It's gonna be going away. It's just the postage rates, inflation, all that kind of stuff is moving everything more digital. Which people saw this coming 10 years ago, right? Absolutely. And people have been arguing against it. It's not going to happen 10 years ago. Well, I'm sorry. Those are the same people that said that telesales agencies would never make it. They're flourishing right now. Now, hindsight 2020, nobody saw COVID coming, right? But that pushed a lot of people to have to do it. So where there's a will, there's a way. And I can't remember the saying off the top of my head, but something about, adversity creates opportunity, right? There it was. So that's proven it can be done. I know guys that have built huge telesales agencies and sold them. I know guys that run huge telesales agencies and they're doing just fine. It's about mindset. I think if somebody, is if they're going to do well at one or the other, they're going to do well at both. So, that's kind of where we're at with direct mail, in my opinion. And like I said, a bird's eye view, seeing what a lot of agents are saying. And, I think it boils down to, Jason, that if you're not in that large group clique of those IMOs that are able to do this, then you're locked out. And, but don't despair, because their rates are going up too. And they're going to have agents falling off that just can't afford to pay, those per lead prices, to keep it going, unless the carriers begin to, really start bumping up premium rates, to offset that extra expense, so the agents are making more. However, what does that do? Well, that slingshots back to how much harder do you think it's going to be able to close that client on a higher premium? If it was $40 a month, 6 months ago, and it's $65 a month now, doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. That's a huge increase. And when you start talking about $100 premium going to $150,
right.
So
it's the bottom line for everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
we are right in the middle. I think we're in the eye of the storm as far as all this goes, and where things are gonna end up. We are in the calm right now before the storm really hits. I think it hit a little bit about a year ago. I think there's still some rippling going on. Again, our biggest challenge is countywide. When people order countywide,
Right.
we restricted to 20,000. We asked for at least that much. I'm going to probably have to go up on that. And again, I just ask for patience with these guys at order county, because with less data, the longer it takes. Statewide
Absolutely.
always feels faster.
And telesales is king for keeping your lead cost down. It's like you can do a statewide Facebook lead campaign, statewide SEO, statewide mortgage protection. Matt can fill them fast. When you start niching down to a tinier demographic, a tinier area, you're going to pay more for everyone watching. This is the downside of being a face-to-face agent. You're limited by geography. And I've been there. Matt's been there. We understand it costs more money and it's going up. You know, luckily statewide and a couple states haven't been impacted as much yet. And it will be. It'll go up a little bit.
Eventually it will be. I think we're a few years from it. Yeah.
But it's going to be a trickle as opposed to like getting gully washed.
Yeah.
As a face-to-face guy.
Yeah. And we've done a really good job at keeping our pricing the same across the board. It will be different for these new premium ultra leads. We are going to have tiered pricing for county, state, and multiple states. Obviously with the county being the higher cost lead and the statewide, and then the multiple states being lesser. But, you know, even on the regular leads we're doing now, you know, if somebody orders statewide on the callback leads, the regular leads, we're keeping our prices the same right now as statewide as using counties. But that may be changing real soon, because we keep having data cost increases every month. And there's a lot of expense also, you know, like I said before, in scrubbing and making that stuff compliant. And that just reduces the data even more, right? So I don't want to be like, you know, the sky's falling, but
we're not like Chicken Little here, but it's
yeah,
important that you're kept in the loop, audience. This is important. I hope you guys are liking this content. To get transparency like this, this isn't talk that normal agents
they
normally
won't
get
hear
to
this.
experience.
Yeah, they won't hear this. I mean, I'll tell guys anything they want to know about the leads and lead generation and all that stuff. And it's been a hell of a ride. I'll say that the last 2 years.
I bet it's a different dynamic. It's like all these, what happened health wise, everybody couldn't go face to face, so they're floundering at telesales because they weren't trained right, or they're like, oh, I'm just going to use my face to face script, and then like, why aren't these leads working? These leads are broke. Well, sorry, the lead's only as good as you are, and if you're not trained in telesales, it's going to be a tough ride if you're using silence as a technique.
And agents budgeting, you know, a year and a half ago, we were running these things out for $9 a lead.
Right.
It's $9.
Those days are gone.
We got hammered, and that was great. But two things happened. Data went up. Response went down.
Right.
And our pricing had to go up. So, you know, I thought we did a good job. We did what we could. We had actually, you know, we were higher than we were now 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. And I actually dropped it to 9 to help guys out. So, and it did. And now we're kind of inching our way back up. We're way away from where we should be. Honestly, we are. I don't, you know, but I'm not trying to, I just want to make a living, man, and do what I can for agents. I'm not trying to get rich here. And believe me, I'm not. So
we appreciate you, brother. I mean, we do. Like the fact that, you know, you're so pro agent and helping them. There's not a lot of good lead vendors, honestly, on the planet. There's a lot of ones that are slimy. There's Joe blah, blah, or blankety blank at gmail.com trying to get you screwed. And the fact that you're funneling these leads for our agent force, you're funneling these leads down for folks that are buying them at theleadjerk.com. That's dynamically different than these vendors that don't give a you know what about you. There's vendors that don't return your emails. They don't return your phone calls. Good flipping luck. I had one lead vendor, a well-known vendor. I'm an agency owner, for goodness sakes, and I'm trying to hit out. They couldn't even return my email. I'm like, I'm done with you. And it's like, if you aren't getting cared for as an agent with a good lead, you're not going to be left with a good taste in your mouth, and you're just trying to do your job. You're trying to make a good living.
Very rarely, dude, will I not respond to an email. I don't care what it is. I just had a lady, she put in her first order last night at like 8:30, and she emailed me right after that and said, hey, just put in my first order. Look forward to working with you. Thanks for everything you're doing for agents and watching out for us. And I emailed her back today and I was like, hey, we got it. I appreciate you. Let's rock and roll. So very rarely will there are very few emails that I delete and just don't respond to. Very few. It's usually somebody trying to get information out of us that has something to do, a competitor or somebody, want to do some weird type of program and want us to get locked into it or whatever. So yeah, very rarely do I not respond. But yeah, it's about to the point now where I would say, and again, I've always preached order at least every 10 days. Like it's real hard. Again, it's real hard. But most don't. I would say we got like 25% that do, but most don't. And again, you've got these agents, you got to start looking at tele leads and Facebook leads as what direct mail used to be, as far as how long it took them to come in and how you treated it. You would drop mail every week, or your PPO program would drop mail every week, so that you had a build up and you had a lot of stuff out there working at the same time. With county, and the reason I keep stressing this is because it's getting to the point where, depending on the area of the country and how much data, like I said, we're at 20,000 right now is the minimum. Depending on the geography and where you're at, because that does matter. Some of these leads trickle in like direct mail used to, even on a 25, 30 lead order, and agents will email me like, hey, what's up with a lead order? Do you have a completion date? I'm like, well, I would hope it would be finished by this time, but I can't guarantee that. We are burning through the data and calling daily. And yeah, anybody that feels that faster, good luck.
Right. Compliantly.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Right.
I'd rather have slower leads coming in, because there's always something an agent can do, right?
Absolutely.
Over
Leverage
here
out with
while
some
they're
Facebook
waiting.
leads.
Yeah,
to get
order somebody,
fast.
order more other leads
SEO
from us,
leads,
or other leads from somebody else that's legit, and have them coming in at the same time. That way you're not you pepper it in. I would tell somebody, never put all your eggs in one basket. Don't ever just, like, even if you're ordering exclusively through us, kind of pepper it in with some Facebook leads from us. Like, don't just depend on the tel leads.
All right, you've got the Facebook, the SEO leads, you've got the inbound, you've got just like get a buffet here.
Yeah. Remember how we would do it on direct mail, right? Like,
absolutely,
when it would come in and you'd be like, it's kind of a light week. I'm gonna order some tel leads. I'm gonna work them in there with it in the same area, and we're gonna work those together. Did that all the time. At least once a month we would have to do that. So that's just something to think about. I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad about agents that are not set up to do telesales right now statewide. I do feel bad for them.
Absolutely.
Because I'm telling you, Jason, I think they're going to be forced to do it. I think
they will, whether like it or not. You better get go get trained up early.
Yeah, I think if this is what they want to do for a living, they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to do it from home, from their office, from the telephone. Where that means going to an agency office that does only telesales, or having an agency like yours where you can train nationwide. And that's where it's going, man. That's just flat out where I see it going. Numbers don't lie,
It's the truth. And it's like what you're speaking is so on point, 100%, right? Where you, as the agent force, if you want to make it in this business, you have to be consistent with your pipeline. Keep your pipeline full. That means buying leads on the weekly. I'm not even thinking, I tell all my agent force every 7 days, you should be consistently buying leads. If you want to be consistent in your commissions you make and your connections that you can have, you've got to have a consistent lead order, because you're going to have times where the pipeline's a little slow. And if you didn't make that consistent lead flow, you're going to find yourself like dying on the vine. You're feeling like someone's stepping on your oxygen cord. You can't breathe. That's the way I felt anyway. And I bought leads at least once a week. And if I had a rockin' first 3 days, man, I need it now. I'm like doubling down. Give me some more leads now, Matt. Go. Get me some Facebook leads. Get me some SEO. Pop. I need them in my hands, because once you're riding that wave, for those of you watching, it's you got to keep the wealth going. Don't take your chips off the table, double down. Get
Yep.
your lead flow into a place where you're consistent in always having leads, like Matt and I are saying. Get it peppered in. And then now you're going to be in a place where you got the best chance for survival. And not everybody makes it, first off, for those of you watching. 90% of the agent force will fail out.
Right.
Sometimes because they buy one darn batch of leads and says, well, I'm just going to work these leads and I'll
This
just keep
isn't for
going until I'm
me.
broke.
Yeah, this isn't for me. Heck, man, I questioned myself on that the first 2 months I was out in the field selling, right? I was like, man, am I going to be good at this? And then I finally figured out and got hooked up again. What we always go back to, I found a group that had a really good script. They just said, do this, boom, 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 don't deviate. And once I started doing that, everything worked out. You know, it was as simple as that. I was just standing in my own way, trying to do it on my own. And I'm just not that damn smart. It's already been done before me.
Right. Us
already
as
been
insurance
done.
agents, we're like,
Yeah.
like lasers with a cat. You know, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what's this shiny object? Oh, what's this shiny object? It's like us as insurance
I-
agents can be victim.
When I get an email from a guy and he's saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing this, and they just got licensed, I'm like, don't do any of that.
Right? Wise
Don't do any
words.
of it. Do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Say this, do this, and do this. All the other stuff, I know it sounds cool, but first of all, nobody cares. Nobody's going to pay attention, and it's not going to make you any money. Flat out.
You're gonna go broke.
Yeah, you'll go broke. You'll be out of this business in 3 months. So I'm like, just take what the successful guys have done in the past and just copy it, basically.
Turnkey systems are everything.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And that's another reason why we're pretty excited about this league, because for those that want to spend the extra money and have that little bit more of a backup on compliance, it's there for you. Again, even on the regular ones, we're good to go. But it's something that we have had requests for multiple times now, if we would consider doing that with the final expense callback leads. So we said, you know what, it's not going to cost that much more money for us to implement it. It will cost more to run it, but to get it going, it's really not that much more expensive. So we just went ahead and decided to pull the trigger on it, go ahead and do it. And having it out there, having it on the order form doesn't cost me any more money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love that, going with a premium ultra lead like that, to be able to have something that has even a higher level of intent to protect the agent. And it's like, if you're paying attention, for you, the audience, Matt's talking about funneling down and chucking leads that he could sell to you. Okay.
Yeah. We
Notice
get rid of them.
that verbiage. He's chucking leads that he could sell to you, like every other schmuck out there. Sorry, Matt, but I'm just saying, it's the truth. They will. They don't care. Like, you're going to walk into somebody that's on the DNC anyway, and they're just a pissed off individual, for lack of a nicer way to say it. So you wasted money. You basically paid to get chewed out. Like, Matt's eliminating some of this stuff so that you don't get chewed, where a lot of other lead vendors would have just sold you the lead and says, thanks for your lunch money. And it doesn't mean that leads are going to be perfect, by the way. You're going to get people that are going to still chew you out, F you out, tell you to go everywhere that isn't heaven.
They will.
It's going to happen still.
You gotta be thick skinned. You gotta be a little thick skinned. And it kind of leads off to, I don't know if you saw the promo I posted about a week ago. We're a couple of days behind in getting it done, but we're producing a new video, and we're actually, I'm not going to say a lot about it right now. I'll tell you what it is off screen after we're done, but it's gonna bring a lot of things to light. There's a lot of things that happened on the back end this past AEP, specifically with Medicare, with huge companies that people aren't aware of, and I'm gonna tell it. I got to check with an attorney and see if I can mention names. Right. If I can, I will. I don't think I'm going to be able to, not because of specific legal ramifications, but because we don't want to embarrass the companies that got screwed. Okay. And when I'm saying companies, I'm talking about carrier groups.
Right.
Not IMOs.
Those chickens come
some
to roost.
IMOs, but huge $billion carrier companies that got done in for. And I'll go more into detail on that in the video that I'm going to be coming out with in the next few days. We're taking it and getting it edited now. And when people see that video, I hope a lot of people see it. There's nowhere near as many people that's going to see it that need to, but people don't know this is going on. And this is going on right now. And if I'll say this, if you don't think that some of these companies out there will throw the potential of $1 million a year in lead purchasing business from a carrier, if you don't think they'll throw that away and throw you under the bus, and they won't think twice about doing it to you.
There's an undercurrent for those of you watching. There's an undercurrent, and that's where you don't want to get swept out to sea because you were shined on with some piece of crap lead. You got screwed, especially with Medicare Advantage space, the D stuff. It's so tightly regulated. You can pretend like it's the Wild West, but you're the one that's going to get popped and you're not wearing Kevlar. They will run you over. Insurance companies are known for that, especially some captive ones too. They're like, oh yeah, here's the bus. Blump, blump.
CMS is no joke, dude. CMS is no joke. And I had an agent email me 2 weeks ago. Says, hey, you didn't Med Advantage leads. Nope. He goes, well, how about the AEPs, the regular ones with the income thing? So I know, there's a way in there you can legally do it. I said, look, if you know that much about it, I have no problem doing T65 or regular Medicare leads for you. I said, I really don't see any point in buying the regular Medicare except during AEP, because T65 is just that's who's turning 65, who you're going to be able to get. 65s
are amazing. Exactly. Like, why wouldn't you touch that? That's
exactly.
Monstrous.
I said, if you're interested in Med Advantage and you know enough about how to work the system so you do it compliantly and don't get in trouble, that's on you. My job is to produce a Medicare supplement lead for you. However you worked it after that, it's up to you. But no, we won't, and I see guys out there advertising Med Advantage leads. Go look at the rules on CMS's website on marketing the Med Advantage. You can't do it.
100%.
I mean, even your marketing material has to be approved by them.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, but what marketing material do you have for a telemarketing lead to a Med Advantage prospect? There's violation number one right there. And this guy is not going to be involved in that. So I just say, no, man. I mean, I know you know what you're doing and I know what you want to do, but I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
It's not worth it.
Even if you take it. And I told him, I said, hey, this whole email exchange we're having right now, I know what you want to do.
Right.
I said, but the mere fact we're having this conversation, if I now sell you leads and I know your intent, now I'm involved.
Right. You're just as dirty as the one asking.
Exactly. And I was like, no, man, I can't help you. I'm just not going to do it. Number one, it's not right. There is a way to do it. And man, there's Med Advantage agents out there that kill it and do it right. So
we've got guys that do it and they're amazing. They do crazy good work, but they just do it the right way. It's not that hard.
No,
it's like, but to play the edges, you're never going to get down to the end zone successfully all the time if you're playing the edges of the field all the time. It's like, get off the edges, run down the dang middle of the field and go get a touchdown. Like,
and I'll tell agents too, if you're a Medicare agent, I'll be real careful about engaging in a conversation about that on email or even on the phone. CMS investigates. For all I know, it could have been CMS investigating me to see if we were following rules that, that we're not like, how should I say, working in an agent's mindset to tell them how to do it with real Medicare leads on how to work. Nah, no thanks. No, thank you.
I'm with you.
Anything to do you government agencies. No thanks.
You just don't play. It's like, no, thanks. Not interested even a little bit. It's like, there's so much money to be made in Medicare. Just go sell supplements, go sell whatever. And if it comes up in the conversation, then just do it compliantly. Go get your scopes out there.
I've talked to Medicare agents. They're like, yeah, man, I kill it T65 all year long. They're like, I'm not even worried about AEP.
Right.
They said it gets kind of hard for them to get T65 leads during AEP though, because most of the lead vendors are busy doing just standard generic Medicare switchover, during the enrollment period leads. They're not concentrating on T65 because it's a freaking madhouse. Like, everybody's doing it. We've never done that. We just brought them on last year. So to be honest with you, I kind of got a little bit of an idea what we can expect. We'll probably turn up the volume a little bit and do a little bit more business during that. But some of these companies, they order a lot, like a lot of leads during AEP, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month worth. And all I got to say to those guys is you better make sure they're compliant. Matter of fact, I want to say, and I apologize, it's hard. We've got so many different leads in different verticals. I think all 4 of our Medicare leads, the AEP for live transfer, the AEP for callback, T65 live transfer, and T65 callback, I think all of them are Janaea token. I think they're all like the Ultra Lead. I think all of them are, because we thought it was that important for that.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that you're guarding, us as the agent from this is a big deal. Like when you're dealing with Medicare, just don't mess around. Go to theleadjerk.com and buy good Medicare leads and just do it the right way.
You think life insurance is regulated?
Right? Oh, Medicare makes life insurance look like nothing.
Yeah.
Is nothing.
Yeah.
Medicare is like, oh, you better be ready for a colonoscopy, and they didn't put you under because they're going to go deep.
Yep,
they are going to go deep on you, and it's not going to be fun. I mean, it is
paper trails matter.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they'll go up you.
Yep.
They will. Like it's not even worth it. Like
to. And you know what? As far as the government agency goes, they're pretty tight, man. Like they got their act together at CMS on a lot of stuff, and investigation on fraudulent activities is one of them. They are sharp. And
this last year it went up big time. Not to cut you off, but this last year complaints were through the freaking roof this year for Medicare.
You're gonna hear a little bit about why in that video. I'm gonna make sure I email you the link when it's done.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's some, man, even I was left shaking my head. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, at the end of the day, once you're done the video, you're gonna be like, man, these guys cut off their nose despite their face.
Right.
It is nuts.
You don't get it. Like it's short-sightedness. It's like in this business, it's like there's so much wealth to be had. Just do it the right way.
I wonder sometimes, I'm like, these guys know something I don't. Is there a meteor gonna hit the earth? Next year, and I just don't know about it. And they're just like getting all they can while they can, and they don't care about the repercussions of it. And just leaving them out hang to dry. I don't get it. So we'd rather just be smaller than deal with that. We do, though. I will have to say we have taken on. We're now dealing with 5 different carriers. We keep all that, like we don't advertise it. We're like, hey, we're a lead vendor for this carrier. Right. We just, everything's private. You'll never see it on the site. I'll never make a video about it. Yeah, that stuff's just kind of behind the scenes, and so we're dealing with 5 now. I would expect we're fixed to engage with a really huge health insurance carrier. I think we're going to be engaging with them real soon on some stuff. And leading up to that, this is, whether or not they'll admit it or not, this is one of the reasons they went out looking. When you see that video, this is why we never would have heard from any of these guys if this stuff hadn't went down like it did last year at the end of the year. So,
well, you heard the old adage, you throw a rock into a pack of dogs and the one that yips is the one that got hit. There you go.
Yeah,
just saying.
Exactly.
It's what this industry is about. You and I have been talking about compliance for a while, long time now, where everybody else kind of skirts around it or doesn't want to say a thing. They're like, oh no, call 2-3 year old age leads. No problem. Wink, wink. Yeah. And then that agent gets out of the industry because they got slammed through bad advice, or agencies saying, go buy these old direct mail leads that are cheap. Just go call them. No big deal. There are consequences.
Yeah, there are. They could,
this stupidity.
They may have been on the DNC already when they mailed the car back in, which is fine. Right. If you're the receiving agent, you do have you do have the legal ability to call them and be fine. Chances are you're not going to have any issue there. But if you go calling a lead where you weren't, and I don't care if the place says they've never been sold, come on. Come on.
Right. Unless you
I don't
know the
know.
vendor.
Yeah, man. I don't know of a year-old direct mail lead that ain't already been sold at least once.
At least once.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt though and say it's never been sold, right? But it's been sitting there a year. What could have happened in a year with that person, right? They may be dead. They may not remember ever sending it back. You weren't the original. Okay, whoever ordered that, the company, that's who the original originator of that lead was, not the agent that's buying it. So if you in happenstance call that person out of the blue and say, hey, you mailed this car back, they're number one, they're probably not going to remember, even though a month ago they mailed 2 back.
Smoke leads don't remember it a day ago.
That's the only saving grace you got, is that they confuse you with somebody they just recently mailed back, right? That's your only saving grace at that point. If they figure out that you, and it does happen, if they are one of these kind of people that doesn't respond a lot and they happen to on that, and it's a year old and you call them and they're on DNC and they got any whiff of this that they could get some money out of you for it, boom. You're going to at the least get a 10-day demand letter asking for some money to shake you down. At worst, you're going to get served papers.
Doesn't sound like a fun
if you get a demand letter or something like that and you investigate it, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you do something like that and somebody sends you a letter or they call you and they troll you like, hey, you know, I could sue you into infinity and you don't have legs to stand on or whatever, or you could just pay me $1,000, pay the $1,000. Pay the $1,000, learn your lesson, and never do it again.
Hey, just do stuff the right way, people.
Yeah.
It will help you in your profitability. It'll help you in your powerful movement forward, but be consistent in buying leads, get good ones. Just get good ones. Don't get God. It's
you know
not
what, Jason?
that hard to do stuff the right way.
Yeah. And the one thing I want guys to realize, and gals, this isn't just in our industry, right? This is in every industry with lead gen. Like, no matter what it is, it's the same process and compliance that they have to follow. And, you know, there's banks that get just eat up with $1 million lawsuits for TCPA violations, you know, some of them to their own clients. And you would think, hey, I should be able to legally text, voice blast, or voice drop, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Ringless voicemails,
email,
yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. All that. Right. You would think, hey, if you're doing business with somebody, they have an account where you can do that. Got to have authorization on those things when it's financial fiduciary stuff. Right. So there's even other things like that. Now, thank goodness we don't have to have that, but you know, it's just one more reason why we like the token stuff. Because that does show intent on the prospect's part, which is really one of the bigger things you really need. If you have to come face to face with some kind of problem like that, you
better be safe than sorry.
You're better be safe than sorry.
It's just not worth. That's why it's like getting a good premium ultra lead, getting a good Facebook lead from Matt, good SEO leads, his Medicare leads. He's going to keep you straight and keep you safe. And it's like, honestly, you got great prices like on your inbound leads. Dear goodness, I'm releasing another video. And for those of you, the viewers watching, go check out Matt's YouTube channel. Go look up the lead jerk. Okay. He's going to drop a video for you if you haven't seen it. I'll put you in the link in my description as well, as always. But yeah, go check out his stuff. He's got great inbound leads. I'm releasing a video coming up this Monday on it. He's my #1 vendor for inbound leads, hands down. Okay. Everybody else is the caboose. Honestly, it's behind you in forms of lead quality. And for those of you, the viewers watching, I've written insurance, tons of it using his leads. Okay. And using others as well. But his leads are the good. They're the good one that you can use from an inbound standpoint. Right now, you're not going to get a better handshake from a price standpoint or quality. Yeah. Because just go look, you'll see.
And I'll say, as a caveat, I appreciate all that. I really do. But I want to say as a caveat, all that is true. But I'm going to say we are not the fastest. We're going to be slower than some other companies because of the way we do it. And some agents are like, how can I not have a lead in 10 days? It's possible.
Anything cheap,
Because
easy, or free
yeah,
is going to
yeah,
not be
yeah,
good anyway.
yeah,
Don't rush the process. Like that's,
yeah,
I wouldn't worry about apologizing on that.
yeah.
If you get
I
a
feel
quality
bad about
lead,
it, man. I really, people don't see that side of me, man, but I do. I hate that. I cannot stand that. But it's the way it is. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do to speed that up, because as soon as I try to put that wrench in there and do something, I'm gonna fail compliance. I'm the only way to do that and speed it up is to not be compliant
or
and
lower quality.
lower quality. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I would rather just not have a business than do that. So, that's why I say, county guys, please, man, please, start thinking about widening your area. I mean, there's nothing wrong with if you want to work counties, that's cool, right? But there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, out this far within that 20 or 25,000 data area, I'm going to do face to face. Okay. And then add other ones around it, give yourself some more data and say, you know what, these I'm not going to drive to, I'm going to work these I'm going to telesales these guys. Do that. Run a hybrid. You're still right there. If you had to go to a house, you still could make the trek. Don't think you're so special that you don't have to drive to get business if you're face to face, right? There's guys that drive 4 and 5 hours every week, one way to go to their territory, stay a week and drive back home. So, and that's what they have to do. They have to do that because they want to write 15,000 a month, 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month. Because guess what? In their area, leads suck. They don't have any area.
Exactly.
What if you live in a town that's 25,000 people? The only way you're going to make it as a really good final expense agent or any kind of insurance agent really is, number one, you're going to travel and stay in an area where you've got response and they're coming in faster. Or number two, you got to telesales.
Being a hybrid agent is
man.
powerful.
I think that's where it's at. I think that'd be a good idea.
I mean, it's like knowing telesales, like in my agency, jasonfinalexpense.com, we do a 5-day telemastery program. We train like beasts so that we can be better than our competitors. It is what it is. We train very, very hard and intentional, not to be arrogant, but to be very confident in how we handle the phone, how we handle rebuttals, how to do everything, because it costs you everything if you don't do this stuff right. It just does. It's not worth it. But when you know telesales, when you're in the face-to-face play, it's insane. It's like force multipliers happening because of how you communicate over the phone, where when you go from face-to-face and then you jump into the telespace, you jump in the telesales arena, it's just different. It's completely different. You think it's the same, but it's like doing a waltz versus breakdancing.
Yeah.
That drastic at first. It really is. I mean, once you grasp it, you're like, I got the rhythm, right? It's like hopscotch. Who cares? I got this. Hybrid agents are lethal. And I think
telesales. And I think it's a good thing if you're 100% face to face now and you want to start learning some of these telesales techniques, get with Jason and have that in your back pocket. Just start learning it and start working it. And that way, when it happens, and it's going to, I'm telling you right now, guys, this is going to happen.
Oh, it will.
When it finally, that changeover takes place, and all the guys that are 30 and 40 right now that you can't write, age into the age whether you can, they're not going to be sending back cards.
Exactly right. They're not walking out the mailbox.
There may not even be mail at that point. I don't know.
Look at what's happening with the postal service, bro. It's crazy. Like
if it wasn't for Amazon, we wouldn't have the USPS right now.
Oh, exactly. It's
probably gone, probably independently run. I mean, you always want to talk about packages, but I'm saying, direct mail period, like postcards or, look what happened with communication on letters, like writing a letter to a friend.
Great. It's like a dinosaur in your mailbox if you get a letter from a friend.
Yes.
Text, email, call.
Oh, look what I got. I got something from 1970.
Right? It's like, dang, you got a scratch and sniff in there too, I'm sure. I mean,
the only people that send me birthday cards now is, the bank or an insurance company.
Exactly. It's like, who the heck is this from? It's the
I'll
truth.
set them up, I'm like, oh, I got 2 birthday cards. But then you have 150 people tell you happy birthday on Facebook. Do you guys see where this is going?
Right. Facebook is the thing. SEO leads, banner
Digital, yeah.
ads. Check
Yeah.
into Matt's site, theleadjerk.com. Don't go the way of the dodo because you weren't
Yeah.
paying attention to what lead costs are doing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you need good premium leads here. Get his premium ultra leads, but know that you're going to have to spread out as a face-to-face agent. If you're not getting the message here, you will have to spread out, which means you're going to have more windshield time, more road fatigue. You're going to be less time in between your appointments because you got to stretch yourself where you're driving bigger counties. You're just expanding your geography, where if you can be a hybrid agent, expand your counties for sure, hit your face-to-face jam if you like it, but then know how to do telesales so that you can translate the business with lower costs. Your cost per acquisition is way, way less in
Same thing
telesales.
with gas, I mean, and with inflation, I got to touch on this. I mean, normally, prices might come down some, but normally inflation doesn't really work like that. Like once you got inflation and costs go up, they rarely go way back down. I mean, they can. I mean, on commodities like gas, it might. I don't know. But right in today where we're at, we know what we're paying. So that's something else to think about. You got cost of wear and tear on your vehicle, parts availability if you need something repaired. All that comes into play when you really have to think about long term and kind of forecast, a couple of years in the future where you're going and where this is gonna lead you. So I mean, why do you think, again, does it seem to me that the innovators, the guys that are doing the most right now, the biggest lead buyers I see are doing telesales. Period.
Telesales is powerful. Like I've
Yeah.
done telesales combined with insurance background over 2+ decades, 20 years plus. And I did telesales before I even stepped into insurance. It's insane. Like what you can do over the phone, the amount of sales that you can be successful at attaining, no windshield time. It's call to call to call to call to call. You don't get no showed. I mean, you do, realize you need a good chair real quick. Stand up desk. You realize what your butt feels like real fast, but you face-to-face dudes feel that too. But at least you get up a little bit, but it's power. Like telesales is a big thing. And some agencies, they're a post C-word agency. They're like, oh, I'm doing telesales because I now have to, as opposed to like, this is their heart. This is what they love.
Yeah.
And that's why like they're launching into this, but telesales is tremendously powerful. That the leads are your biggest expense. No more gasoline. Like your car is going to get really jealous of you because you're not going to be in it a lot.
Yeah. And again, the only groups you're going to see that really are, and they're doing phenomenal too, right? The groups that are these big IMOs that still have the pay-per lead program and direct mail. You know what?
Right.
Their agents still buy tel leads and Facebook leads. I mean, it's just that. They even have to do it because they know, look, just because you're on a pay-per lead program and guaranteed that you're going to get a certain a lead cost per card doesn't mean you're going to get 25 leads in every week. It could be 12 this week and 20 the next.
Or two. I was talking to a big house this week.
It runs cyclical, but if you decide to get out of the program, what happens is you make your last payment on the last drop. And then however many you've paid for, those come in and they make you right and it zeroes out, but it's never exact on that either. So you were saying, I'm sorry.
Oh no, brother. I was just saying that I was talking to a couple big houses this week, and they're going to be, they're not getting the consistent direct mail lead flow in. And these are, a lot of good agencies that I was chatting with, and they're behind the curtain. The public doesn't even know yet. Their agent force doesn't even have a clue yet, but they're going to have to raise the rate on the price per lead. And the agent force has no clue. They're not even privy to the conversation like you and I are. And it's ugly where they don't even see the bullet coming, but it's already left the gun. It's like, it is expensive for direct mail leads. They've been subsidizing it for a little while. And you know what's going to happen? Boom. It's going to go up, up, up. And these amazing face-to-face agents. They're great agents. They don't have a
Yeah, they
clue
are.
what's coming down the pike. And it's like, if they're not prepared to go tele,
Yeah.
they're going to be paying a lot more, and it's going to be not comfortable, right?
No, it's not.
We're
Postage
creatures of
just went up
habit,
again too. Postage is going up again.
right?
So what does everybody think is going to happen? Now, I'll tell you what I'll tell you what I see is going to happen with these guys that are really strong in the field force, right? These agencies. I think what's going to happen, they're going to have to subsidize even more on their back end of
Right.
their override. They're going to have to subsidize more of that lead cost, because if they don't, they're going to lose agents. Agents are just going to do something else for a living, right? Or
You go taking that
they're
rate
going to
and
go
just
somewhere
spike it.
else, or they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to say, I can't do this anymore because the commission didn't line up with what I'm having to pay. Look, it was already, it was already hard enough, okay, to go out there and spend $35 on a lead and work your tail off and make a really good living.
Right.
Can happen 100%, but it was already hard work to do that. So with adding even the extra expense, I mean, what are we here for, man? Agents want to make money. So, and they don't have to kill themselves. So I think agencies are going to have to, they're going to have to subsidize even more.
You got to be a skilled agent. And so that's where it's like those agents that are going to survive this in the face-to-face direct mail hits, the lead is only as good as the agent is. And with a good agent that's crazy skilled, crazy gifted, they're still going to make a good living, but your lead cost is going up if you're a face-to-face player and you don't even know yet.
Well, it's like everything else right now. Your money's buying less.
Exactly.
So every time there's a lead increase on direct mail, it's usually a lot. That's just what it is. And guys, what I'm saying to you is not just my opinion. I have talked to direct mail houses myself. Right. I know, we've looked into doing, this for a couple of years, actually 3, but we've never really did it because it just didn't make sense. And I always had in the back of my head, something's going to happen and it's going to blow it all up. And right now we're like I said, I think we're in the eye of the storm right now. But this is what the guys that do this for a living are telling me. This is what's happening. And these guys, and it's not just in insurance, okay? It's across the board in all industries. These companies that have independent sales forces are going to have to subsidize more of the lead cost if they want to keep their sales force, period. So I guess it's a wait and see thing.
Absolutely.
But until then, protect yourself.
Right? Be compliant, do stuff the right way. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. Thing. Well,
still a great industry, man. I mean, you can go out there and make $100,000 a year. You really can. And then some, right?
Rivers of money. If you would just get in the boat, honestly, there's rivers of money to be had here. Be consistent in your lead purchase. For those of you watching, okay, be consistent every week. I say every 7 days, you should be like making bread. You got to keep that pipeline full. You can't even be a McDonald's, for those of you watching. And you can't even have a McDonald's if you own the brick and mortar, if you don't constantly have burgers and buns being delivered on a weekly basis. You're going to go out. So don't go out of business because you weren't faithful to buy leads on the weekly. And if you may get a batch of leads in your 1 week that maybe don't go exactly as you planned, maintain profitability by buying another week's worth of leads, because the ones that didn't buy last week may buy again this week. It's all about strength in numbers and in the laws of large numbers and in averages. Don't stop buying leads. If I stopped buying leads, I would starve to death.
Yeah. And I want agents to stop second guessing themselves and what's the word? Selling themselves short.
Absolutely.
When you're doing this, you're not an independent agent, right? You are technically. You're a business owner. You're starting a business, okay? You are running a business. You're more important than just being some salesperson for insurance. This is what you're doing for a living for you, yourself, your family, whatever. You own a business now, so treat it like that. You're a business owner. You're not just an agent. Right. I think guys get, kind of don't realize that. you have a small business when you're running final expense for a living. You're a small business owner. Okay. There may only be one employee, but that's all you need for an LLC.
That's it. Like, stare yourself in the face because
Yeah.
you're that person, right?
You're
Like,
it.
if you
You're
didn't
it.
make it, you got to look in the mirror, honestly. And that's a tough conversation to have. Like, if you wake
Yeah.
up one day and you're like, well, I slept until noon and no sales happened today. Wah. Well, why didn't it happen? I look in the mirror and go, you know what? I didn't get my own butt up, and I'd fire myself if I was my own employee, right? So you got to treat yourself as a
Yeah,
business
man,
owner.
it's tough. Yes. You know, during the pandemic, I struggled with that myself. I had to make myself do stuff, you know, even though I didn't want to, I had to make myself. And again, I'm guilty, dude. I should be making a video a week, and I'm not. So even I know I fail on things, but I want agents to know, man, you're not alone, and just,
Absolutely.
you know, just think more of yourself, right? Think more of yourself, because if you think more of yourself, you'll start doing things that more successful people do. So it's up here. So I again, I talk to a lot of new guys that are just getting into this, and I sense they're second guessing themselves. You know, even coming from a sales background.
Takes faith. It
Yeah,
does
it
take
does.
faith in
It
buying
does.
leads every week. And then just, you got to have good scripts. You got to have good training and
Yeah.
somebody that knows how to return an email like Matt at theleadjerk.com, or work for an agency like mine or another agency that's good. There's some good ones out there for those of you watching. Get somebody that knows how to return your phone call and email and help you,
Yeah.
instead of, oh, go schedule, okay, a time to talk to me on a calendar somewhere. No, you're going to lose money in telesales that way. You
Yeah.
just can't do it to the
And I
same level.
often use the example of, if you're somebody just coming into this, let's say your background is in a different area. Say you're in industrial sales, seals, something like that, right? Fasteners, whatever. And you were really good, but for whatever reason, you want to make a career change, you're coming into this. Well, what makes that any different than if you decide to go in the pharmaceutical industry and being a pharma rep, right? First thing I'm going to do is like, okay, who's the number one girl or guy in our region with this company? Who's the number one rep? Oh, it's her. I want to ride with her for a week. Same thing, plugging in with an agency that's good on telesales, plugging in with an agency that's got a real good system for a direct, all that. That's that. So, you know, the tendency I think is, but because the barrier of entry is not that high, there still is some. But I think some people think, well, I'll just go get an insurance license and I can do this. Like, they don't take it seriously enough. But they
It's a
should.
lottery ticket.
Yes.
An insurance license is a lottery ticket. I'm going to immediately be
Yeah.
rich and wealthy.
Right.
A lie,
No.
right? You better
No.
get prepared to get your hands dirty by leads.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be sexy, snappy, or glamorous, but it's
No.
amazing. Like, if you stay in
Yeah.
this business as long as Matt and I have,
Yeah.
and others, it's phenomenal. Like, the
Yeah.
power and the flexibility and just everything that it does give to your clients. Like, you're good at serving the client, and then you capitalize as a result because you're good at taking care of problems for great people. That's what
Yep.
it's about. It's about
Yep.
magically solving their problems. Then you'll find success.
Yep. It always comes with that too. Morality.
Right.
100% of the time. 100% of the time.
It
Always
does.
comes with that.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you joining
man.
us today. For those of the audience, check out his YouTube channel at The Lead Jerk, and then theleadjerk.com. I appreciate you. Matt, thank you, brother.
Man. Yes, sir.
Appreciate everything you do
I'll
for the
talk to
industry.
y'all soon. Thanks so
All
much for
right.
having me, Jason. I appreciate it.
Dude, thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.